Tom, what have you made of the race so far?
Well, it was a fun week. That first week where we had, was it 8 or 9 candidates to begin with?
It was quite a few.
And then it got whittled down every day. It's the best reality TV show that we've got in Britain. And we repeat it every 3 years, apparently. And it was very scattered at first. I think it became very apparent that Sunak would top the ballots within a couple of days, but who would come second, and therefore go to the membership, was highly contended. And we saw some figures that we'd not necessarily reckoned in like top of the party comes to the front a little bit more, in Penny Mordaunt and Kemi Badenoch. If you follow politics, I'm sure you'll probably be aware of who they are, but to a more general public, they might not have heard those names before, and they were very prevalent for a few days. Penny Mordaunt just narrowly missing out on going to the membership by eight MPs, so very close in the end. She was in second place all the way up until the final ballot, although I think it had become clear that where the votes from the other MPs would likely go.
Yes, because
we got there.
Of course, Rishi Sunak, despite being an arch Brexiteer, is it fair to say, he voted Brexit. He's hardly worn it on his cuff, shall we say. He did vote for Brexit. At the same time, he's kind of become the favourite of Tory moderates. Well, Liz Truss was a Remainer, and in a previous decade or so was a Lib Dem, in fact, is now the favourite of the Tory right. Try getting your head around that one. And of course, the Tory right are trying to argue that Liz Truss has kind of, the zeal of the convert, shall we say. Do you buy that?
I'm not sure. Well, the membership buys it. The membership apparently buys it, and you do have the sort of hardline figures on the right. That famous interview now with Jacob Rees-Mogg and Nadine Dorries, who are obviously both seen as being, who have got wildly different personalities, but both come from a similar politics of the right.
Yes,
party. Both endorsed her very publicly. So I don't know if I buy that that's where her politics is. People can go on political journeys. People can change, as we've seen quite a lot of actually in British politics in the last few years. So potentially, maybe that's how she sees the way, not just to winning the membership, but to winning an election. Maybe she still thinks that sort of nationalistic fever will power her through, and therefore maybe she is in her heart of hearts a bit more moderate, a bit more of, because she came into Parliament in 2010, I believe, so you would have maybe expected to see him, and apparently was a Lib Dem, maybe would have expected to see it more on that sort of liberal, socially liberal Cameron.
Well, she wasn't elected to Parliament as a Lib Dem, was she?
No, of course, she was elected as a Tory. But coming in 2010, you might have expected her to be more on the sort of moderate side, because that's where the party had moved towards with Cameron leading it. But apparently has just moved all the way across. I mean, I don't trust her, but I trust that that's what she is planning to do. So we'll see.
Because tax cut seems to be her selling point as a candidate. She's going to say, cut taxes from day one was her campaign point. And, anyone knows anything about British politics knows that, you can't just cut taxes from day one. You can't do executive orders of your prime minister. This isn't the US. You've got to put legislation through Parliament. But at the same time, I'll give her the benefit of the doubt. She's going to put forward tax cuts from day one. Do you think that's going to be a winning strategy among the Tory membership?
Yes, I think so. I think the corporation tax rise in particular, which I suppose in that she can just scrap that from day one, because the corporation tax rise that Sunak has planned. I believe we're going up to maybe 25% corporation tax, as a way, as he said, as a way of covering the costs of COVID. That hasn't come in. It won't come in until 2023. So I suppose it kind of just to say it's not going to happen now kind of is within her gift. And I do think that specifically will be very popular with the membership, and the donors, of course, because the donors are who really matter in the Conservative Party, and I think they'll probably be happy with that.